RG number 8 is going to be starting a bit further back, actually, on the grid. Pedro Hilman, as I can find him. Yes, 6th row on the grid. Here we go, 30 seconds. We're good to go for 2 warm-up laps. This is the final of the final. Ladies and gentlemen, dames and herren, grab to your seat as we have the KZ final on its way. 23 laps. This is going to be the best of the best, the cream of all the drivers around the world in the karting. This is here happening on the Home of Champions, and of course this grid doesn't lack any of the champions of the recent years. So a fantastic spectacle outside. Hold on to your seat, put on your seat belt, and here we go for the KZ final here in Genk.
Ever since 1983, the World Championships of Gearbox Karting has been contested amongst the best of the best. Since then, only 6 non-Italian drivers have ever taken the top spot. Namely, Peter Rydell in the Formula C days back in 1988, the likes of Robert Dirks in the Super ICC days. In the KZ1 era, of course, it was Jonathan Tonon and Baz Lammers who dominated. But then some chap called Max Verstappen and his mate Jorrit Peks have been the only other non-Italians to win in the KZ era. Is that going to change today for Patrick Hayek up pole position? Marin Kramer's alongside him. Rick Driesen, Simu Pohaka, Anthony Abbas, Fabian Federer, Jorrit Peks, Alex Orlando, Andrea Dali and Lorenzo Camplese in the top 10. Then Pedro Hiltbrand, Baz Lammers, Mirko Tozzolini and Paolo De Conto, the reigning double champion. Jonathan Thonon alongside Ben Hanley, Francesco Salenta and Gush Specken, Henry Coco and Stan Peks, Johan Sogel and Ivan Chubarov. Then it is Noah Milel and Jeremy Iglesias, Leon Kola, Mirko Mazzoni, Tom Longfield, Christoph Adams, Damian Valla and Jan Kuovi. This is going to be the best ticket in town. And it is, of course, the World Championship of Karting. The best gearbox drivers in the world are here, and they are going to play it out for the 2018 FIA Karting Championship of the World. So I hope you've got a good vantage point. Thousands of people all over the world watching, as well as the thousands that have flocked to the Home of Champions here at Genk in Belgium. Everyone from downtown Limburg has come to see this most amazing of spectacles. I'm looking around the entire circuit and I cannot see a single gap around the circuit. It is absolutely packed to the rafters. Everyone in town and everyone from all 6 corners of the globe, North and South America, to Asia, to Australasia, to Africa, and to every part of Europe they have come. And this is the race they've all come to see. This is the big one, the FIA Karting Championship of the World. And now it is time to see who will take the 2018 title. Gearbox World Karting Champions have been very many, and incredible names have done so. Back in the Formula C days, the title was won by such incredible drivers as Gabriele Tarquini, Fabrizio Giovanardi, and Formula 1 Monaco Grand Prix winner Jarno Trulli in 1994 even. And of course, in recent years, 5 years ago, Max Verstappen won this title in his bid to get to Formula 1. So there could well be, as Felipe Massa himself, the CIK FIA president, said earlier on, there could well be a Formula 1 driver of the future on this very grid. You never know. The drivers finish up on their second rolling lap. They will come onto the grid. It is standing start, of course. Gearbox racing, it always is a standing start. But this is the most important start of every single one of the 30 drivers on this grid's entire season. Get this right, and you've got a ticket to the big show. There's going to be some amazing fight backs. What's the tension like down there on the grid, Guillaume? It looks as if everybody's pumped up for a big one.
Yeah, definitely the tension is rising as we get close to, as you said, the biggest race of them all. This is the conclusion of a fantastic season, and maybe that could end up in tears for some of the drivers and in joy for a few of them grabbing just one for the title, the world champion title, of course, at the end of this race. 22 laps to go. This is going to be fascinating. That's what we're here for.
On the left of your screen, as you look down the grid, is going to be Patrick Hayek. On the right of your screen is Martin Kremers. So many top drivers in behind them. Driesen, Buhaka, Abbas, Federer, Pex, Irlando, Dale, Camplese. There are many world champions on this grid too. Hiltbrand, a KZ2 world champion. Lammers and De Conto have won this world title before. Thonon has won many World Cups. This is the best of the best of the best. The green flag flies at the back of the grid. The lights will come on. We're racing for the World Championship. Now! What a start from Hayek, a beautiful getaway. Abbas gets a good start initially, but gets crowded in by Rick Driesen. Round the outside, there's a little bit of tussling as they go through the first couple of corners, but it's all done and dusted for Patrick Hayek, who leads the way at the moment. Driesen has had to cut back across into fourth position as the drivers cut their way through, but it's Hayek who leads. Kramer second and in third. It is the Finn, Simo Puhakka. Down the back straight for the first time. Driesen hanging on in front of Federer as up the inside already. A big lunge from Puhakka. Kremers goes over the grass and over the curbs. He was lucky to keep second place there, but a good bit of defense from Kremers, and that's given Patrick Hayek a very important lead early on.
And there he goes, Simo Puhakka attacking already in the first line. And there he goes, taking the inside line. Then Martin Kremers has to hold back in third position. Simo Puhakka, beautiful from the Tony Kart chassis driver. Now in second position. Oh, and this is it!
Oh, it's Puhakka! Puhakka and Kremers have come together at the final turn. Unbelievable! Two of the biggest names in this race. Kremers gets going again. Puhakka is going to have to wait for an opportunity to join the traffic again, and that means that Rick Driesen is up to second place in front of Federer, Abbas, Irlando, Pex, and now the number 12 has been passed as Pex has come through. Pex is now in front of Abbas and Camplese.
Yeah, well, I was losing my words on that one. It happened so fast in the last corner. Myron Kremers and Simo Puhakka both out of contention in this race. Simo Puhakka won't be starting again, or did he? At least Myron Kremers was able to get back on track, but losing all the positions that he had so very hard fought for. So what a start of final. This is only the conclusion of the second lap. Only two of the best contenders already out.
Well, this is a big moment for Jorrit Pex. He's now moved himself up into fourth position, chasing down Federer, Driesen, and that man Patrick Hayek. But Patrick Hayek has won every race he started this weekend. It's going to be very tough for anybody to compete with the Cosmic Driver today. Oh, contact! That is Thonon! Thonon and Abbas! Thonon and Abbas come together at the exit of turn 2. The cannibal has taken a bite out of Abbas, and they've both been stung. Unbelievable. Jonathan Thonon's comeback is not going to result in another title. As up the inside, that's Mazzoni getting a move on Dali. Hanley up the inside as well. He gets the place. Brilliant bit of driving. And now that is the 8 of Hiltbrand trying to move his way up the order. He's got challenge of himself from Stan Pex. Amazing. It's all kicking off in the World Championship final.
What a start of final, man. With Jonathan Thonon getting back on track. Impressive, actually, return from the Cannibal, who didn't lose any second to get back on track, and at least trying to recover the ground, even though it's going to be very, very difficult. Not the same, unfortunately, for Anthony Abbas, who is stuck outside of the track.
And all of a sudden, the man who started 14th on the grid, the double world champion Paolo De Conto, is now in 7th place. It's game on. He's got a chance to get this title back. Patrick Hayek leads. Driesen second from Federer, Pex, Irlando, Lammers and De Conto as Jonathan Thonon brings his car into the pits. He is out.
Can you imagine looking at our screen to see names like Thonon, Abbas, Puhakka and Kremers down back and further in the field at the very end of the top 30? Who could have thought of such a scenario before? But this is definitely, of course, all to the advantage of Paolo De Conto, first of all, who gained 7th position without doing much actually, because it was just the very early stages of this race. 4th lap only completed by the leader. On your screen, this is Patrick Hayek increasing his lead, 1.6 seconds on Rick Driesen. Third place for Fabian Federer ahead of Jorrit Pex, and still a field very, very tight.
There's Fabian Federer, number 3, running P3 behind Patrick Hayek and Rick Driesen. 4th is the world champion from 2015, Jorrit Pex. 5th is the KZ2 champion from last year, Alex Orlando. Baz Lammers, the world champion from 2012, is next up. Then it is Paolo De Conto, reigning world champion and double world champion, in 7th place. The big names are still at the front end. Camplese 8th from Torzolini, Hanley, Pedro Hiltbrand, Dali, Pex. That is Stan Pex, Coco, Salenta, Chibadov, Iglesias. Iglesias up to 17th. Sogel, Kohler and Gustspeken just in front of Noah Milel and Mirko Mazzoni. So, great battling in this race. This is Jorrit Pex the one in front of Alexei Orlando, who has come straight into KZ in 2018, having won the KZ2 Super Cup last year. He is right up at the sharp end and looking for a top 5 finish in his World Championship debut in KZ.
What a start of the race, unbelievable. Certainly one who has not so much to complain about is Patrick Hayek. From the start to up to 6 lap in first position from the pole. He was starting from Rick Drezen. A good surprise, but we're gonna see suddenly a battle coming up very soon between Fabian Federer and Drezen, but that one as well between Jorrit Pex and Alex Lando. This is royalty at every level.
Oh, Hilbrand makes the move on Dale, and that's a beautiful bit of overtaking there. So Pedro Hilbrand up into 11th place then as he charges up to the top 10. And don't forget, he was the fastest driver in the warm-up this morning, so over 1 lap, he's very good here. So let's see what he can do as he charges his way back. It's only the end of lap 6. There's still a long way to go, 17 left.
Yeah, and most of the drivers actually should consider the fact that this race is really, really long before putting themselves out of the race. But it's happened twice with such a big names as Kramers, Tonon, Abbas, and of course Simon Puhaka. It was before mechanical flag for Kuovi.
Yep.
Unfortunately, number 20 running in 28th position. The
we've had 2 cuts come off at turn 1 again. A little bit of contact. I think that was Longfield. Longfield was battling away there. Didn't see who he tangled with. I think that might have been Damian Valor. The 2 of them have come together.
There comes a move for the car removing driver. Sorry to cut you up, Jake, on that one. It was the number 16, beautifully made further back the field. I think it was, if I saw well, who was that actually?
No, it was Longfield and Adams.
Longfield
and Adams who came together earlier. My apologies. So Longfield and Adams off at turn 1. I think both of them have got going again. But Patrick Hayek is your leader from Driesen, Federer, Pex, Orlando, Lammers, De Conto and Complaise. A very intense battle this as we go into lap 8 of 23. And there is an oil flag being shown at the first corner. Now that is interesting because I think that contact means that some water has gone down at the first corner. It's bone dry, so there's been some moisture or something from the cars that gone on. Oh, Pedro Hilbrand! Pedro Hilbrand's gone off at turn 3. Hilbrand is out of the race. Ah, disaster. Pedro Hilbrand is off at turn 3, and that is an absolute disaster for the Spaniard. His World Championship is over.
What a disaster for the Spaniard. Hilbrand out of the race indeed. He had already such a disastrous result back in Salbris. There is Pedro Hilbrand for the first round of the European Championship. He was leading the way before a seat engine put him out of contention. And once again, mechanical failure for Pedro Hilbrand, who actually was in the top 10 and in good pace with the fastest lap just before to be able to climb the order.
I think you're right. I think it was mechanical failure. I don't think there was any contact from anybody shoving him off the road, and he certainly wasn't being very forceful. I think that's a mechanical failure, unfortunately, for the very unlucky Pedro Hilbrand. So now Jonathan Tonon is out. Hilbrand is out. Abbas is out. This is absolutely incredible. We get so many of the top names down the order, and Martin Kramers is on the comeback charge, down in 21st position, with Bahaka down in 23rd position. So some very intense battles, as the drivers have obviously had a very difficult first 9 laps of this race. But out in front, no problems at all for Patrick Hayek. He's just impervious to it all.
The Cosmic Driver coming across the start-finish line again, out of the last corner. Let's have a look at the gap. It keeps increasing, 1.8 seconds. There's no one competing against Patrick Hayek at the moment. Really unbeatable in flying away from Rick Drezen, who's going to have a lot to count on with Fabian Federer, just 0.4 of a second behind Rick Drezen. There's the battle coming up for second position, just behind those 2 on your screen. Jorrit Pex, the reigning European champion, not world yet, who knows? But he's just behind him, Alex Lando, number 14, last year's Super Cup International KZ2 winner. Those 2 are all together fighting for what's going to be the 4th position so far, as we have Fabian Federer not far, just before those 2.
Really exciting and intense battles at the moment between these guys up at the sharp end. This is for 4th position. The world champion from 2015 and reigning European champion Jorrit Pex, the number 1, has got Alexei Orlando right underneath him as he challenges for the top 4 spot. 3rd position in front of them is Fabian Federer, the original pole position man for the weekend, having set the fastest time in qualifying. Look at the fans, absolutely on tenterhooks, knowing nothing about what is going to come next. Patrick Hayek still leads. Rick Driesen on home soil, the Belgian in second place. Federer, the Italian, in third. Then it's the Dutchman Jorrit Pex in front of the Italian Alexander Lando. There's Paolo Di Conto in sixth place, dropping past Lammers, and here comes Mazzoni. Oh, sorry, no, that's Torzolini. Torzolini gets the move there on Baz Lammers. Lammers trying his best to get back in contention with Complesi and Ben Hanley in pursuit, but that was a beautiful bit of driving from Mirko Torzolini.
He was sliding a bit outside of the exit in turn 7. Was beautifully made from Mirko Torzolini, indeed, getting ahead of Baz Lammers. And there comes a move. Alexander Lando getting past Jorrit Pex. It's happening the last corner of this track, getting across the start-finish line. Sure, we see Jorrit Pex responding to the Italian driver. Not yet, as the European champion is really holding in the tail of Alexander Lando. Beautifully made from Lando. This is a battle for 4th position in the hands of Lando as we speak. But Pex is going to try suddenly everything he has under his wheel to try to get past again the Italian driver. Looking over his shoulder, Lando on the straight line. Could those two actually maybe work together to try to decrease the gap on Fabian Federer in 3rd position? Certainly not what they're thinking about at the moment. But what counts actually for those two is getting 1 more position.
Up to 4th position then, Alexander Lando chasing after Fabian Federer, his countryman. But this is all still absolutely gravy out front for the man in the lead of the race, Patrick Hayek. Lap 12 completed, the halfway home lap. There are 11 to go before the latest man from the Czech Republic can claim an FIA World Championship title. The man of the moment, Patrick Hayek, on the Cosmic, is having an amazing run here, and it looks likely to me that the Czech is going to get the job done. He's having an absolutely amazing time of it out in the position. The 28-year-old who was runner-up in the KZ European Championship 2 years running in 16 and 17, had a miserable season this year in the European campaign, but this could be his moment. This man, Paolo Di Conto, is currently the reigning champion, but he may be about to relinquish it.
Yeah, that would be a fantastic reward for Patrick Hayek, a runner-up, as you said, those last 2 years in the World Championship of the KZ category. So certainly that could be his day. The Czech driver extending his lead as he comes across the start-finish line on your screen. 13 laps completed out of 23. We have less than 10 to go before the checkered flag will be welcoming either Patrick Hayek or Rick Driesen. 2 seconds between those two. You never know what might happen. But there's still a battle going on just behind. Fabian Federer is still in 3rd on his own planet so far. The Fabian Federer, the Italian driver, the number 3, as you can see, former European champion, of course. Alexander Lando, Jorrit Pex, that's the one we keep focusing on, of course, battling for 4th position. Lando, Pex just behind him. You have Paolo Di Conto in 6th position. Di Conto faster in the 1st sector of this track. Could this mean fastest lap overall for the Italian driver? And maybe the time for him to grab a few positions more and climb up the field.
So Patrick Hayek
Here in Belgium.
There has never been a karting world champion from the Czech Republic. He may be about to change that, as that man, Rick Driesen, on home soil, is doing the Belgian fans proud here in 2nd place. 3rd is Federer, showing that speed and flair from qualifying. And it looks like we've got a kart stopped out on the far side of the circuit. That is Christoph Adams, the 50-year-old who is the oldest man in the field. Unfortunately, it looks as though mechanical failure has put him out of the race. That is a real shame. There he is, Adams doing a fine job at 50, competing in the ultimate championship of the world race. Absolutely sensational effort, but it's not to be for him today.
Yeah, that's worth mentioning. Christoph Adams, indeed, a poor performance at the end, but a fantastic week for him and a very courageous challenge. Just before, fastest lap for Paolo Di Conto as it is. The Italian driver running in 8th position, 1/6 of a second behind Jorrit Pex. A battle Pex Di Conto. Could it be royalty? I'm asking, but say no more. There comes the number 1 just in the corner of your screen, with the number 5 just behind. Di Conto Pex. That could come up very, very soon in the next lap. As we're focusing now on the number 10, Patrick Hayek, your leader. Worth mentioning that it could be the first world champion of karting from Czech Republic, as we had previously this year the first European champion in the OK category from Estonia, Paul Harren, of course, from the OK Junior, my apologies. So it shows, of course, and it comes as no doubt that new nations are knocking on the door of the international karting competition.
And Patrick Hayek, of course, has got plenty more accolades to come in his career. This would be his first major success, and what a success. The World Championship title could be his first international title in karting. That would be an amazing achievement for the Cosmic driver out in front. Driesen in second, Federer in third. From Irlando, Jorrit Pex, Paolo Di Conto just sets his personal best time. In fact, no, the best lap of the race. He does a 52.597. That is the fastest lap of this race with 7 to go, but it's looking good for this man out in front. He's got 2 seconds over Rick Driesen, who is a second clear of Federer, who is catching, who is being caught by Alex Irlando. Irlando is catching Federer, while meanwhile Paolo Di Conto is catching Jorrit Pex. What a showdown!
Yeah, everyone's catching everyone on this track. This is part of the game. This is the KZ final. This is one of the battles we're going to follow, of course, until the very end. Paolo Di Conto chasing down Jorrit Pex, the former world champion of last year, against the current European champion of the same category. This is absolutely royalty.
CRG Holland versus CRG Spa. They may be on the same chassis, but these are two completely different teams, so it's battle royale. Di Conto goes for it and mets the place on Jorrit Pex. Brilliant move from Di Conto. The gloves are off as he charges past the European champion. That's why he's the reigning world champion. Paolo Di Conto slam dunks it into 5th position. Good work.
And 1 second behind Alex Irlando, just in 4th position, battling with Fabian Federer. Could it be hammer time in the last lap of this race for Paolo Di Conto, trying, of course, to decrease the gap from his fellow countryman Alex Irlando in the battle with another Italian driver, Fabian Federer. There's a lot of Italian down there. As I was telling you, they are on top of the games for this World Championship weekend. Let's not, of course, count out Patrick Hayek. No, the best of them all, leading the way still ahead of Rick Driesen. Those are the two we're talking about. And there on your picture is Fabian Federer, Irlando, Di Conto, and Jorrit Pex.
Well, we know from ancient history only 6 drivers in the history of gearbox karting have ever won the world title to be outside of Italy. So only 6 non-Italians have ever been Gearbox World Karting Champion, and one of them is in the top 6 right now. Jorrit Pex, the number 1. He won the title back in 2015, of course, and he would love to win it again, but it's looking ever more likely that it's not going to be today. Meanwhile, this man, Alex Irlando, the 14, is closing on the 3. In 3rd place, Fabian Federer, the Italian, who is the reigning Super Cup winner. Well, certainly was before Matteo Vigano showed up. Alex Irlando, who won the Super Cup last year, is coming in for a chance at 3rd place in the World Championship. That would be an amazing debut in the KZ World Championship if he can get that job done. There's 4 laps to go before we crown a world champion. Irlando tightening up behind Fabian Federer. These two having an amazing tussle. And is it going to go the way of Irlando? He's really got to work hard, and he's got to dig deep. He's got to dig deep to push Fabian Federer out of line, and he's got to get in his skin here. He's working incredibly hard, down to 7, into the right-hander, a little bit of curb used on the exit. They're pushing harder than they've ever hard before, and it's going to be Patrick Hayek at the moment. I don't see him losing this. He's got 1.9 seconds over Driesen, but he's not losing enough time for the Czech to sweat.
Less than 4 laps to go, 3 actually, until the checkered flag. Patrick Hayek still holding a lead, a bit less than 2 seconds advantage on Rick Driesen, but this is behind. This will be absolutely fascinating until the very end. Rick Driesen losing a bit of ground to Patrick Hayek. Could it be the chance for both Fabian Federer and Alex Irlando to catch up with the Belgian driver here in your picture driving the Kart Republic chassis? We shall see about that as the gap decreases itself. Indeed, Di Conto in 5th. Jorrit Pex is 6th. So for now, this is still unchanged order as we speak. There's a top 10 very quickly. It's Mikko Toscanini in 7th. 8th place for Ben Ali, Lorenzo Camplesi, and 10th place for Bas Lammers in the top 10, the Dutchman.
An amazing end to the weekend. This is going to be the last 2.5 laps. Can Irlando get close enough to Federer? Federer there on the number 3 kart. Here's Irlando, the 14. Can he get close enough in these final 2 laps to challenge for the 3rd spot on the podium? He's got to work so hard, but it's going to be very tight. The fans absolutely fever pitch. 2 laps to go this season, and it's all about whether or not Irlando can get on terms with Federer. Can De Conto close in on both of them? He is charging very hard. Don't forget Paolo De Conto. If they make one mistake, these two, De Conto could end up on the podium, and that would be an amazing fight back considering he was 17th in qualifying on Friday. He's had a good fight back. He's not likely to be the world champion this time, but what a fight back this has been from De Conto. It's still an open season for third place.
Yeah, the third place definitely now in the hands of Fabian Federer, but still less than 2 laps to go. That could be as well a good recovery result for Fabian Federer after a small position on Friday, but he had a run of heats, not really successful, at least as he would have expected. The Italian driver now running third, but for how long? As you said, Alexei Landa and De Conto actually catching up with the Italian driver. This is the final lap. Final lap, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna have a champion suddenly at the end of this 1.3 round of Genk, the home of champions, and the champion that might be him on your screen, Patrik Hayek from Czech Republic, the number 10, driving for Cosmic. He could be crowned at the end of this lap the first champion from his country in the history of karting.
Nobody from the Czech Republic has ever won the Karting World Championship, but I bet there's going to be loads of people in Prague celebrating tonight. The whole family is about to get ready for the biggest moment of Patrik Hayek's career. He knows he's got this one in the bag. The kart feels good. He feels balanced and stable. He heads to the last corner. It's a heroic end to the weekend. He will be the new world champion. Patrik Hayek is the world champion. Yes, big moment for the Czech. What a race, what a moment. Oh, the flames throw out on the main straight in celebration. Patrik Hayek battles and shakes hands with Rick Driesen. Finally, he was ever the bridesmaid in the European KZ Championship. Runner-up in 16, runner-up in 17. Abysmal fortunes this year, but in the World Championship, this was his moment. Patrik Hayek is the world champion. What a satisfying moment. That is gonna last forever.
Forever, definitely. And you see good signs of fair play and respect among those drivers going for the one destination lap, of course, after what has been such a fantastic show on this track of Genk. The best racing of them all, the biggest race in the world, and we have a winner, Patrik Hayek. Rick Driesen second on home soul. Fantastic performance for the Belgian driver, who proved to have made the right choice by joining Czech Republic after leaving Beulah hard just for this event. Third position for Fabian Federer. I'm gonna have the pleasure to hopefully have, of course, comments and reactions from the top 3 drivers in the podium in just a few minutes. But before that, Matej Jake, this will be the Tour d'honneur for the top 3 of the drivers. Hayek, Driesen, Federer, all in the same car, for all of you guys around the track to cheer them up as they deserve.
What an amazing end to the 2018 FIA Karting World Championship. A lot of names were talked up as potential world champions coming into this weekend. They said that it would be hard to beat De Conto for a third straight year. They thought Jorrit Pex would have the home advantage. There were wonders about whether Fabian Federer's speed would make him the man, and the current form of Pedro Hiltbrand made him an instant contender. But today, there was somebody else who had other ideas. Patrik Hayek is the world champion. And now everybody is making their way over to the podium to celebrate with the Czech. It is a fantastic end to the season, as everybody wants a piece of the action here. They all want to get over very quickly to the podium to celebrate with the young Czech. 28 years of age, Patrik Hayek. This is the biggest moment in his career, and he has absolutely fought tooth and nail for every second he has